What's up everybody, my name is Carl, and today I'm going to review Spider-Man No Way Home. Directed by John Watts, this follows on from the events of Far From Home, where Spider-Man's identity as Peter Parker has been revealed to the entire world. When things get personal, Peter seeks the help of Doctor Strange, but unfortunately, this escalates things further, bringing all sorts of unwanted trouble. I just have to say that this has been something I've been wanting to see for a long time. Like Into the Spider-Verse showed us the vision, and this is a live-action dream come true. Let's kick things off by talking about the three Spider-Men, starting with Tom Holland. This is by far Holland's best performance yet of the infamous web-slinger. This version is way more mature, grittier, and grounded. This is also a classic Peter Parker situation. He just wants to get into college, but sadly it's not that easy. Well, especially considering that his identity got revealed. Peter really undergoes a lot of bitterness throughout the course of the film, sacrificing what he wants the most in order to protect those around him, reinforcing the values that Aunt May taught him before she sadly dies. I loved the various costume changes. I never had a problem with the Iron Spider suit, so it was cool to see that. The inside out design looked cool to see for a brief cameo. The integrated Iron Spider nanotech on the Far From Home suit was a nice touch, but I have to talk about my favourite suit, which we caught glimpses of in the final sequence. The fact that this suit is homemade, shinier and brighter is already positive. It definitely looked like classic comics iteration and is a perfect step in the right direction. Andrew Garfield. When Andrew came on screen, the crowd went crazy, and so did I. Seeing him back put a smile on my face. I noticed how different he was in this in relation to his own Spider-Man films, but I was okay with it as time has certainly moved on since. We find out that this version of Peter is still not over the loss of Gwen and had been rage-filled from it, which could indicate that he possibly could have killed somebody. I love how Andrew's Peter gets a redemption arc in this film as he saves Holland's MJ after she falls off the Statue of Liberty, which makes up for not saving Gwen. The performance he delivers in that particular scene was powerful and emotive. Tobey Maguire. When the crowd went crazy for Andrew, it was crazy for Tobey. I was so over the moon to see him back. Again, this version was a lot different to the Raimi era, but again, a lot of time has passed, and this Peter Parker is a lot older and wiser. I like the jokes that were made regarding his webbing when in fact for him, it coming out of his body is completely normal. I loved seeing Tobey and Andrew's suits again. The nostalgia really hit me. Seeing all three of them swinging together and interacting with each other was amazing. Now onto the Sinister 5 villains, starting with Green Goblin, played by Willem Dafoe. Having Willem Dafoe back as the Goblin was the best decision they made for this film. I think he's more menacing. Norman seems to be dealing more with his inner demons and the constant battle between himself and the Goblin. I like seeing the whole Jekyll and Hyde aspect of the character, and certainly when he shifted into the Goblin persona when Spidey sensed something wasn't right, was absolutely chilling. Doc Ock, played by Alfred Molina. I think Alfred Molina nailed his return as Doc Ock to a T. His interaction with Holland on the bridge was fantastic. Also when he was reunited with Tobey was such a nostalgic and heartwarming moment. Electro, played by Jamie Foxx. This version of Electro was miles better than the Mark Webb version. I liked how they gave Jamie Foxx more to do in this film, and he certainly seemed more threatening. Electro using the arc reactor to be more powerful made a lot of sense to me, and the little detail of the crown on his head was definitely a reference to the comics. The Lizard, played by Rhys Ifans, and Sandman, played by Thomas Hayden Church. It was nice to see the return of both of these iconic Spidey villains. Personally for me, they appeared to be the ones that acted as extra muscle with not much to do. I don't find this a big problem. Certainly with there being a lot to explore and do in this film, there is only so much development they can focus on. Regardless, it was fun to see them causing chaos and returning back to their respective roles. Favourite sequences? Bridge fight. When Doc Ock returned, everything was full swing and so gripping. Seeing the Iron Spider go toe to toe with Dr. Octopus was definitely something I was looking forward to seeing. I loved how Otto managed to absorb the nanotech of Spidey's suit, but having it backfire on him when Peter takes manual control of his tentacles. Apartment fight. I loved the fight between Green Goblin and Spidey in this particular sequence. You forget how powerful Norman is, and he really gave some powerful punches. I liked how the tone shifted when the Goblin persona came back and things became dark and gritty. The lighting and the music in this particular sequence was a great indicator of this. Aunt May's speech. She said the line, oh my god! With great power comes great responsibility. I had chills when that happened. It was such a sad moment and I still can't believe they killed her off. But I suppose in one way, it leads more to Peter being independent. Marissa Tomei absolutely nailed her death sequence, and her final words with Peter were very touching and emotional. The return of the Spider-Men. This sequence was the loudest I've heard an audience cheer. It was electrifying seeing Toby and Andrew appear from the portals. I loved the interaction between Andrew and MJ as she kept throwing bread at him to prove he was Spider-Man. And when Andrew and Toby realised they were both Spider-Man was a pretty cool moment. Final scene. For me, this was yet another great way to end a Spider-Man film. It was very classic comics meets Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Peter now has his own small crappy apartment like Toby did in the Raimi series. And most importantly, Holland's Spidey has a new homemade suit. This homemade suit definitely is a lot glossier looking and truly harks back to the comics and shares details from both Andrew and Toby's suits. I'd like to think that Holland Spidey took inspiration from their suits and has now moved forwards into becoming a more independent superhero, but certainly our friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man. The good points of this film. Casting was excellent. The returning actors settled into their roles like it hadn't been too long, albeit with some slight differences in appearance and personality. The storyline was perfect. It is a culmination and celebration of things we've seen so far in many Spider-Man films, showcased in this one film. The cinematography and lighting really highlighted the dark, gritty, tense and dramatic moments of the film. I really like the shot of Holland Spidey in the rain, looking up at the big projection of J. Jonah Jameson. Nostalgia was very high in this film and worked well in captivating the hearts of the audience, including my own. To see the returning villains and Spider-Man in this film was a dream come true. The future for Spidey may be bitter in the sense that nobody knows who Peter Parker is, but he sure has gained independence and an exciting phase as he enters college and the threats that come with that. The bad points of this film. CGI was sadly not great in places, as you could certainly see where green screen effects were used due to COVID situations. I think the Lizard and Sandman were just filler characters and didn't get that much screen time, but in all honesty, there's not really much development you can do with these particular characters, so I guess their utilisation was adequate. So in conclusion, I would give Spider-Man No Way Home a 9.5 out of 10. I can finally say that this is now my favourite MCU project this year. The nostalgia, the performances, the tone of the film and the cinematography were excellent. The dialogue in this film, specifically between the Spider-Men, was brilliant, hilarious and fun. Zendaya, Jacob and Marissa were brilliant supporting characters and integral to the plot, and their performances were excellent. Leaving this film has made me so eager to go and see it again in cinemas, and I think that's where the film has done its job, making you come back for more. Admittedly, the film suffers from some CGI issues where you can notice the green screen effect, and the utilisation of certain characters was sadly adequate, but aside from this, I truly enjoyed this film. So comment down below what you thought of No Way Home. Who were your favourite characters, what were your favourite sequences, and who would you like Spidey to face next? Like and subscribe and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!